Hey, what's going on? Ryan here, Triathlon.com. If you're watching this live, done a couple videos today live, but in this one specifically, we're going to be talking about 70.3 Memphis, what you should be doing about a month out from race day. I got a couple athletes heading out that way, so inevitably everybody's coming up, being like, "Oh, what am I doing for taper? What should I be doing for taper? What should my load be at this point in time?" All this kind of good stuff. So I like to go through and just do a video for each event, kind of to give you my take on what you should be doing about a month out. Time of this recording this video, we're a little less than a month out, but it gives you a good idea of where you kind of should be in the whole general kind of race prep and lead up to the race and that type of situation. So sit back, relax. Want to make sure that we get you set up and ready for 70.3 Memphis to do as best as possible out there. Doing this live on Facebook, so if you got any questions live, put them in the comments. If you got any questions after, Facebook, YouTube, or whatever, wherever you're watching it, put them in there. Check them weekly, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible on those questions. So 70.3 Memphis, you see in the background here, I did it in 2021. I had athletes to do it in 22, and athletes do it in 23. So I'm plugged into the race, plugged into the event, the venue. The courses really haven't changed much over the 3 years that it's been happening. So that makes it pretty consistent as far as being able to train and kind of predict what's going on. The weather's been pretty similar for each time. Except 21, it was a torrential downpour during the entire bike ride. So hopefully you guys don't have to deal with that. But you never know. Down in Tennessee, anything can happen down there. It's kind of wild. But let's get into what you should be doing. So at this point in time, most of my 70.3 plans are about 20 weeks long, and I base them off an advanced kind of athlete situation, beginner athlete type of situation, and then I base the training and the volume and the load and everything that you're doing based on the course. So Memphis is a little bit kind of a rolling kind of bike course. I wouldn't really call it hilly or technical by any stretch of the imagination. I liked it a lot, except for, like I said, it was covered in rain and 3 inches of rain and 3 inches of water in some spots, so I really couldn't get the full effect that I was looking for as far as speed and getting down the aero bars and really find a sweet spot to crank through. Just what it is, what it is. Weather on race day. The run course is kind of fun. It's all in Shelby Farms Park, but there's there's loops that you do in the sections where you climb up in different parts of the park. There's a couple hills in there, but it's not killer. Definitely an opportunity to kind of put the pedal to the metal. Some flat sections to really kind of get through and find your nice rhythm for yourself and to get through and do the paces. All, for the most part, is on paved trails or subsections. Is kind of a little bit of gravel or something like that. But as long as it doesn't rain, you won't have puddles to run through, but you never know. So 16 weeks out, according to my plans, about 16, 17 weeks out. So notice I've got the advanced plan here on the left, I got the beginner plan here on the right. Notice you got about 16 hours and 15 hours difference. So there's not going to be a substantial amount of difference as far as the time. There's going to be difference in probably the types of workouts you're doing and the kind of either the intensity, the loads, or anything like that. So maybe you're doing a little bit longer rides on the weekends. Both of them about a 65-mile ride, because I really like the distance for this race to get you to work on the aero position, not necessarily to work on muscular endurance, but just being in the aero position for extended periods of time, because I think there's a lot of opportunities on this bike course for that. And then the run's a little bit different with advanced athletes. I got a little bit more mileage going on this last week. So you got about a 65-mile run and a 12 to 14-mile run. So you're about a month out. So that mostly is going to be peaking. Both of these are the last build weeks before you peak into the advanced athlete goes into a transition week, and the beginner athlete goes into a transition week as well. So notice for the advanced athlete, you've still got another 65-mile ride, because advanced athletes, you have a little bit more fitness to work with, a little bit more muscular endurance, and it's really your recovery from a 65-mile ride isn't going to be as impactful for somebody maybe doing their first 70.3. So I backed them off to a 40-mile ride and a 10-mile run and 11-mile run for the advanced athletes. So notice those are pretty close to each other. But I got an hour and 10 just a easy ride, hour 20, hour 20, hour 10. So they're just little subtle nuances and differences for the beginner and the advanced athletes and kind of what you're doing. You know, in the advanced, we may do a little less swimming, a little bit more bike heavy, because that's where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. But this is kind of where I see where you need to be as far as a month out. So if you look at the actual distances, you're about 9K yards of swimming, 9K, 10K, and that's both advanced and beginner level. Advanced, you're doing, like I said, you're doing more intensity, more drills, more work to get a better technical and build that fitness. Beginner, we're just kind of get the mileage in, just to make sure that you can cover that on a race day. Bike distance, 120 versus 111. So not much difference as far as the beginner to advanced. Run distance, 36 to 31. So a little bit difference there. And then there's some strength work. You know, I put in strength work for beginner and advanced. Beginner doesn't have as many strength sessions. Advanced, usually you're in your build weeks, you're doing 2 to 3 sessions per week. So I really like that for the advanced athletes. It gives you an opportunity to build some strength and muscular endurance outside of somebody, and especially working on flexibility, mobility, all that kind of fun stuff. So that's kind of a quick look at as far as where you might want to be if you're looking about a month to 3 weeks out. So we just look at this transition week after. So you got 13 versus 11 hours, 8K versus 9K. Notice my advanced athletes is actually less swimming, but you got more biking, so there's a little bit of a trade-off. And the run distance, 26 versus 24, biking 115 versus 84. So beginners were really throttling off those long rides and runs to get some recovery as much as possible. The advanced athletes were trying to get just a little bit more out, you know, for that transition week, a little less intensity, but a little bit more distance. To eke out as a little bit, as much fitness gains as we can get before you run into your race prep and you're really starting to hone in on getting that fitness leveled off and building that recovery for race day. So hopefully, I didn't see any live comments, but hopefully this kind of helps you out and gives you a good idea as far as, because everybody's always asking, like, oh, I'm a month out, what's your long ride stuff like? Well, you know, you can screenshot this and you can be like, this is kind of where I need to be or something like that. So if you're working one-on-one plans, this is where you should be at. If you're one of my coach athletes, it's pretty similar to this. I do modify it based on what their needs are, so it's not going to be exactly the same. But if you also bought one of my plans on Training Peaks, this is what it's going to be. If you're one of my athletes on TriDot, it could be completely different. TriDot's a little bit different. So if you have any questions on that, you can always ask me. But as far as where someone asks me where should I be, this is where I would think you would be this close to race day, about a month out from 70.3 Memphis. So that, didn't see any questions during the live video. Like I said, if you got any later, put them in the comments. I'll get back to you if you have any questions. I look at them weekly. Stay up with the comments. If this helped you out, give it a like on Facebook, give it a subscribe and a thumbs up on YouTube. Hit the notification buttons for future videos, either on 70.3 Memphis, other races, or just triathlon tips in general. And like I said, if you have any questions or anything like that, put them in the comments. I'll get back to you. Hopefully this helped you out, give you a good idea where you would be. With that, I'll wrap it up. Good luck out there, and we'll see you at the finish.